Hello students, you are welcome back to class. Today we are moving on angles in a polygon. Angles in a polygon. In the last class we learned how to find the sum of angles in a polygon. Today we are going to look at how we are going to be looking for the angles, each of the angles in the polygon. Now let's look at this question. The angles of a pentagon are x, 2x, x plus 30, x minus 10, and x plus 40. Find the size of each angle. The angles of a heptagon are x, 2x, x plus 30, x minus 10, and x plus 40. Find the size of each angle. Now, when you talk of a pentagon, a pentagon has 5 sides. If you see this type of question, the first thing you must do is to first find the sum of angles in that pentagon. So that means you use the formula for the sum of angles in a polygon. So sum of angles in a polygon equals n minus 2 into bracket 180. So now, since this is a pentagon has 5 sides. So it means the value of n here will be what? 5. Let's substitute 5 into the place of n. So then 5 minus 2 times 180. 5 minus 2 times 180, that is 5 minus 2 give us 3. Then multiply by 180 give us 540. It means if you add these angles x, 2x, x plus 30, x minus 10, x plus 40, everything should add up to 540. So that's the next stage we are going to do. So then we add each of the angles. X, 2x, x plus 30, x minus 10, and x plus 40 should be equal to 540. So open the bracket. X plus 2x plus x plus times plus is plus 30 plus x plus times minus will give us minus 10 plus x plus times plus is plus 40 is equal to 540. So from here you are going to rearrange. So that means you have x plus 2x plus x plus x plus this x, then plus this 30 minus 10 plus 40 is equal to 540. So x plus 2x is 3x plus x 4x plus x 5x plus x 6x. Then 30 minus 10, 20. 20 plus 40 is for 60 is equal to 540. So you now bring this plus 60 to this other side. So it will now be what? Minus 60. 6x is equal to 540 minus 60. 6x is equal to 540 minus 60 gives us 480. To get the value for x, we divide both sides by 6. So that means x will give us what? 480 divided by 6 gives 80. Now, so that means the value of x is what? 80. We are told to look for find the size of each angle. You know, each of the angles we have in what? X. The first one is x, which that means that one is what? 80. The second angle is 2x. That means 2 times 80, which will give us 160. The third angle is x plus 30. So x is 80 plus 30 will give us what? 110. The fourth angle is x minus 10. That will be 80 minus 10, which gives us 70. The last angle is x plus 40. That is x is 80 plus 40, which gives us what? 120. So then each of the angles in the polygon are x, are 80, 160, 110, 70, and 120. Now let's look at another example. One of the angles of an octagon is 156. Find the values of the other angles if they are equal. One of the angles of an octagon is 156. Find the value of the other angles if they are equal. Now, you are given only one angle in that octagon. First of all, what is the sum of angles in an octagon? So you will use the formula with of the sum of angles in an octagon. Sum of angles in a polygon is equal to n minus 2 is equal to 1 times 180. N minus 2 into bracket 180. An octagon has 8 sides. So it means that the value for n here will be what? 8. Substitute 8 for n. So that means you're having 8 minus 2 times 180. 8 minus 2 will give us 6. Then times 180. So 6 times 180 will give us 1080 degrees. So that means if you add the 8 angles together, you are going to get 1080. We are only given one of the angles, which is 156. Then how are we going to get the remaining angles? If out of 8 angles the octagon is having, we are given one, so it will remain how many angles? That is 7 angles, remaining 7. So since we are told that each of the remaining angles are equal, find the value of the other angles if they are equal. Since each of the remaining angles are equal, so let us use x to represent each of the equal angles. So that means if you add 156 plus the 7, if you add x in 7 places for the remaining angle, that is for 7x. So if you add the first angle plus the other angle, which are 7 together, which is represented by what? 7x, everything should sum up to 1080. So from here you are going to bring this 156 to this side. So when you bring it, you are having 7x will be equal to 1080 minus 156. So 7x should be equal to 1080 minus 156 should give us 924. To get the value for x, you will divide both sides by 7. So that means the value for x is what? 132 degrees. So then each of the remaining equal angle has the value 132 degrees. Now let's do another example. Let's look at this other example. Find to the nearest degree the size of each angle of a regular heptagon. Find to the nearest degree the size of each angle of a regular heptagon. When you talk of a regular heptagon, a regular polygon has all its angles and sides to be equal. All its angles and sides to be equal. Now, if it is an heptagon has 7 sides. So each of the angles in the heptagon is equal and the sides are equal. So since we know it has 7 sides, we need to know the sum of angles in that heptagon. So we are going to substitute that, use the formula for the sum of angles in a polygon to calculate the sum of the angles in the heptagon. So sum of the angles in a polygon equals n minus 2 into bracket 180. So the value for n is 7 because it is having 7 sides. 7 minus 2 into bracket 180. 7 minus 2 will give us 5 times 180. 5 times 180 gives us 900. So the sum of the angles in that heptagon should be 900. Now, since we know the angles in an heptagon has 7 sides, 7 angles, and those angles are equal. So if we let each of the equal angles to be what? X. Let x represent each of the equal angles. So now that means we are going to add x in 7 places, which is same thing as 7x. So it should now be equal to 900, sum of the angles in the heptagon. So 7x should be equal to 900, sum of angles in the heptagon. When you divide both sides by 7, you are going to get x to be equal to 128.5714286 to be the value of the remaining equal angle. So if you approximate this is same thing as x is same thing as 129 degrees. So the value of each of the remaining equal angle is now 129 degrees. So for the work practice, number 1, if the angles of a quadrilateral are x, x plus 10, x plus 20, and x plus 30, find the value of each angle. Number 2, 4 angles of a pentagon are equal and the fifth is 60 degrees. Find the equal angle. Number 5, calculate the sizes of the lettered angles below. So you can see the size here. So this 120, 70, you are told to look for what? B here. So this one represents a right angle, this is also a right angle. In this hexagon, we are having this one to be 70, 120x, 85, 110, 100. You are told to find x. In this shape, we are having this to be a right angle. This is 140. This is y. This is also a right angle. This is 128. We are expected to look for the value for y. Number 4, ABCDE is a regular pentagon, and the angles of triangle. Find the angles of triangle ADC. You have to look for the angles in the triangle ADC. Then number 5, if the angles of a nonagon are x plus 10, x, 2x, x minus 8, x plus 15, x plus 5, x minus 10, 3x, and x plus 12. Find the value of each angle. Number 6, an octagon has 4 of its angles to be 80, 115, 120, and 155. If the remaining angles are equal, what is the value of each angle? Please ensure you like, subscribe, and comment on this video. Thank you.